Hey, what's going on, everyone? Henry Kaminski here, the brand doctor from uniquedesignz.net. And today I want to spend a little bit of time with one of my awesome Brand Accelerator client graduates. And every 6 months or so, I like to touch base with them and see where they're at with their brand, how things are going, any sort of change in their connection with their audience, and see what are some of the things we could possibly improve upon to, again, create that dynamic between the brand and the client and the audience and help them get the results that they're looking for. So I want to welcome everyone, Mike Saunders from the authoritypositioningcoach.com. What's going on, my friend?
Hey, Henry.
How's everything going today?
Awesome. And if it was any better, I think I need to pinch myself. Just things just moving right along in the right direction.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So before I start sharing screens and kind of showcasing your brand and what we were able to create for you together, because you played a big role in this, tell the folks a little bit about your brand and how it serves your ideal client.
Yeah, so I started off years ago as a marketing agency, and I did the classic all things to all people, jack of all trades, master of none, and that cliche. And I really was. And you just feel pulled in like this, I don't know, a riptide, and you're like, oh, someone needs mobile marketing, I can do that. Someone needs that, I can do that. And you just build this whole thing, and then it just didn't work, as you know. And it's just one more confirmation that you just gotta do something specific and then be good at that. So about 3 years ago, I started focusing on authority positioning, which I started using the phrase Google positioning, saying, how do people see you on Google? Well, then a group of consultants and I across the country started focusing on authority marketing, authority positioning, all of that realm, because in reality, like what you teach with branding, if someone takes one look at that brand, and it's not up to par, then they move on. They don't have time to figure it out and go, well, I'm sure they're a great guy. Well, the same thing with your persona, your authority. In reality, people need to know you, like you, trust you, and you've got a lot of competitors. And so what I do is I help coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs, authors, speakers, anyone that needs to get out there and have their brand elevated with messaging and authority. So you might kind of hand the baton off and go, hey, your brand is sparkling, but now, kind of like that doctor that hangs the shingle out. Who knows about you? Well, you've got the DR after your name, but let's go out and get you published in some journals, and let's go ahead and get you in whatever, so that people go, ooh, they're attracted, some inbound marketing. So my focus is helping to break through that noise and break through that obscurity, because people just don't know what you can do. And I will guarantee you that some people listening to this is like, if you just put me in front of a group, I will just sell the daylights out of what I do because I'm good at what I do, but people don't know that. So if I can help that authority and that credibility shine through, that's kind of already in you, and we can just help, do some almost like fast tracking it in reality, because I'm able to get some people some good exposure through press release or book or media or interviews, and then how to use that in their business. In fact, I just recently, I'm waiting for it to come in the mail, but I got a federal trademark on the phrase authority positioning portfolio. So it's kind of like you showing someone, hey, look at some of these design ideas, and I've done this and I've done this, or a fashion designer, look at my portfolio. Well, an authority positioning portfolio is everything that you do that you need to collect and have on your website, in a flash drive, or whatever you want to, think of it as. But you want to be able to show someone, not everything at once, but what if you were mentioned in the media about this certain aspect of your business, and you were talking to a prospect, and you go, hey, you know what? When we meet next week, I'm going to answer all those questions. But in the meantime, let me get you this interview that I recently did. In fact, I was recently mentioned on the media where we covered that. And now you can send that ahead of that meeting. And when you walk into that meeting, you're walking in as an expert, not as some salesperson.
That's awesome, man. And I have to tell you, you've helped me tremendously with my online presence, as far as doing press releases for me and really helping me with my Google ranking and all that stuff. So I really appreciate you and all of the help that you've brought. You helped me publish my book 2 years ago. It's been 2 years, Mike.
Man, I'm sure you got something else to say. Let's revisit that one, huh?
It's crazy, right? So it's like insane. So definitely I will vouch for you and your brand. I will tell you, for those folks out there that are looking to do all of those things that Mike just mentioned, I trust Mike with my 6-month-old. I really do.
And I would love to hold that dude, but he is a stud.
He's getting cuter by the day, man. It's so funny. Now he's doing this like pterodactyl sound.
Ooh, nice.
He just goes, ah! Just out of nowhere. So that's his new thing. But anyway, that's a whole different conversation for another day. But what I want to do now is sort of take the audience behind the scenes and let's go into where you were prior to rebranding your business. What was going on then? And then what was that one thing that sort of happened where you were like, I need to take this up a notch?
I had made the shift already to focus on the one element of marketing of authority positioning, like I mentioned. So I was already there. Okay. And I had already, I don't do all those little, services and things. So I was already in that mindset. But the problem was I had a picture that one of my daughters, and this is a true story, at a church social, I stood up against a cinder block white wall and had her take a picture of me in a suit and tie. And there was my headshot. Wrong. Wrong.
That is so funny.
I mean, I knew I needed a picture, and it was like, hey, hun, you've got a nice camera. Take a shot. I mean, so that was my brand. And I just had some, marketing huddle as my company, LLC. And so that's what I was. And my messaging was already fine-tuned to talk about authority positioning, but I still was not dialed in. And I think that's the big, big piece. So what was happening is people, I think, would come to my website. They would hear me talk to me, and they would come, and it was just like, yeah, okay, whatever. And it wasn't that kind of sit up and take notice. And that's what was happening. So when we were going through the Brand Accelerator program, many of the sessions were, let's not talk about the photo shoot yet. Let's not talk about the website yet. Let's talk about your messaging. And, I remember, I went back after we went through the videos or the sessions, and I watched the videos. And in fact, about 2 weeks ago, I watched 1 or 2 of them again, because there was a pivotal point for me, and I wanted to watch that point again. Well, we were talking about, do I remain as marketing huddle and just do the rebrand around that, or I don't know. And we kept going back and forth. And, one of your points was, we need to make sure that your target audience, your customers, your clients are the hero, and you're the guide, and you're guiding them through this journey, right? And, it's like a story brand and all of those great, great principles. Well, all of a sudden it was like, guide. Well, I do authority positioning, good. And then it just came out. I was like, I coach people through that process. So that authority positioning coach then came to life. And sure, powered by, or whatever you want to think of it, but my parent company, my marketing huddle is there, but I am, my rebrand persona is the authority positioning coach. So all of a sudden now that kept our messaging started talking about, okay, so if I'm a coach, what would I need them to know? What would I need that target audience to realize that I can do for them? What's that problem that I solve? What's my solution? And not 19 variations of the solution, but like 3, And so that's kind of where I really focused. And that helped me when I was developing the content for the pages and my products and my deliverables and my ascension and all of that.
So what happened was you had a quality message, you narrowed down, you got focused, you got specialized. All that stuff was sort of intact. And then people would come to the page and be underwhelmed, if you will.
Sure.
And so we needed to create a identity to match the message. And that's where I think a lot of folks are disconnected. A lot of entrepreneurs are disconnected because they have a great service. They have a great product. They're sending tons of people to their brand, and they're just going, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
And so what we did was we basically overhauled your entire identity. We did a lot, and because your messaging was strong. I remember going through those discovery calls and the diagnostic with you, and I was very impressed with how articulate you were with all of that. And listen, not everybody has that creative eye. Not everybody has that design eye. And I get that. And that's why a lot of folks come to me and say, listen, we need your touch on this. So there's a match between the credibility that I'm delivering and the credibility of my look and all that stuff. And so we had you do we sort of walked you through a photo shoot, I remember, and really got you looking sharp to really match that message and that deliverable, because I'm a client of yours, and you do great work. And there should be a brand that backs that up, an identity that backs that up.
And also the other aspect too is I teach marketing for 4 universities, and one of the marketing phrases or concepts is IMC, Integrated Marketing Communications, and it basically means to have a consistent message across all of your platforms. And so messaging ties into branding, right? Because you know the old saying, a picture tells 1,000 words. Well, what was my 1,000 words telling when I was looking, getting that picture with the brick behind you up against the cinder block wall, and it wasn't telling much. And then when you then go over and look at Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever that you're on, and it's like disjunct, because it's like, oh, this one has a logo, and this one just has a picture of him, and this one has plain whatever. So when we were able to level up everything that way, and then take it across all those channels, now when I do things on social media, people, it might be a different pose of this photo shoot, but it's the same branding and same messaging, and then it all ties in together. And so I think that's a big piece of it too. That's
the key. That connection, that consistency. Consistency is key, man, across all different types of variables and shapes and sizes that consistency takes. And this is one of them. So I'm getting anxious here. I'm getting like sweaty palms. I can't wait to show people the actual site design and the funnel design and all of that. So I'm going to share screen real quick, and I'm going to take the audience through what we designed for you. Now, this is probably one of my favorite. And I say this, you guys hear me say that a lot. One of my favorite projects. All of them have a place in my heart, but this one here I'm very, very happy with, because of the way it came out and the way we were able to really refine that message and refine that identity to have it look the way it looks. And so we've done everything here on this website on purpose. And that's sort of what I want to preface before I start to go in and start to show people the site. Look where he's been featured, guys. Fox News, ABC News, the Boston Globe, NBC News, CBS News, Huffington Post, Forbes. He's part of the Forbes Coaches Council. Like, before I even scroll, I'm like, whoa, who's this dude? So as we continue to scroll down, well, let me back up a second. The call to action above the fold is so important. And so what we decided to do through the diagnostic and discovery phases was create some sort of authority audit, so he can help his clients see the blind spots that they may not be seeing with their business. And we offer that immediately when they come to the site. So as we scroll down, we have his bio, beautiful picture of Mike here. And then we have Meet Mike. It's taking a little bit to load. So now you have Mike's story. All right. And then, so we're going to go back to the home page. And now we have some really cool offerings. So he's not out there going, look at me, look at me, look at me. He's got himself positioned very, very nicely here. So he's got to download the blueprint, read the book, schedule the audit, and it's a very, very clean process. He's got some really nice videos here showcasing the workshop. Again, beautiful photos of Mike. Like, when we had these pictures taken, I knew right away when Mike was like, take a look at these, tell me what you think. I was like, these are going to look beautiful on the site. See, I could see that before he can because this is what I do. So I knew right away that we were going to be able to use these pages. Use these pictures really, really nicely on the site. So again, social proof. We have his testimonials here. Dom Fawcett, Jim Barthel, me. I was definitely very, very proud to leave that testimonial because again, Mike does great work and he deserves a brand identity to match that. Here's his articles on Forbes, which is really, really cool. Here's his book. Very cool. So now let's take you over to his blogs page. So now this blog page is still a WordPress page. Okay. So here's all his blogs. And then the book funnel. All right. This is still a WordPress page. This is his portfolio. Okay. Very, very cool. A lot of stuff here. He's got a lot of content. And then here is the really cool. So here's where we infused the funnels into his brand and into his website. So first we started with the authority audit. Now this is a ClickFunnels page, right? So this is a very clean order page. This is what you get. Here's how you order. Buy now. Then we have the authority boost, right? Now, when Mike and I were going through the discovery phase, that's the that's the strategy calls prior to even getting near the design and build of a site. We did what, Mike? We changed all of the names.
Well, that's a good point because I had been using the phrase brand boost as that package, and I like just that feel of boost. Let's just goose something or boost it up. And you're like, you know what? Something just isn't resonating because we're talking about the authority positioning coach and then brand boost. What? And so you're just like, look, let's just make this authority boost, and it just made so much sense.
And so now we have everything consistent. So now his messaging is getting tighter. Everything is being branded appropriately, and everything is much more consistent. So we did everything authority, right? So we did the authority audit, the authority boost, and then this is his high ticket offering, the authority suite. And again, look at the consistency of the design. Now, this is a very text-heavy page because it's positioning his product. And we want to make sure that each page focuses in on one product at a time. Because if you're trying to, gather all of these things into one page, it gets extremely confusing. And so we developed there's yours truly. We want one page per product to really help him just articulate what it is that he's trying to do. And we did it in a really clear, precise way. So then we have the testimonials page. And it's very clean, all video. Got some cool testimonials down here. That's pretty awesome. Got the Amazon bestseller. And then we have all these reviews, which are awesome. So clearly, Mike does great work, but it needed to be positioned properly. So from an identity standpoint, I should say. So here we go. And then you get him on the phone and we go from there. So that is, let me just hit it from the top. That is the new, I wish I had the before. I wish I had the before look.
Yeah, I actually, before you built out the site, my website, Marketing Huddle, I started making some tweaks and stuff. And so in other words, I don't have like the before, but I abandoned marketinghuddle.com. And so really right now on the homepage is like one of the hero shots that I have. And it says, click here to go to the authority positioning coach. So, but yeah, I mean, it was just plain Jane. It was like white background and logo. And then that one picture of myself, and that's it. So yeah, it was just quite the transformation. And I think one thing that is notable even though I had already made the transition to focus on authority positioning, I have found in the last few months afterwards, just my clarity and confidence, I would say. Confidence level, belief level, clarity and confidence, because you're focused on that one thing. It's not like before this, I didn't believe in myself, but this just gives you that extra spring in your step to see all of this going on out there. And that's what I get with when I work with clients that go, "Ooh, wait a minute. Look at this. This is online and this is now featuring myself. And wow, it's great to have that book in my hand. And look at that media mention, and look at this package that you've done for me." It gives them that spring in their step, the same way I know you get when people go, "Oh my word, my brand just sparkles." You know, they feel more confident. Not that they didn't feel confident before, but it gives you that extra boost. And so I think that that's a big thing, is that increase in belief and confidence.
Well, Mike, let's call a spade a spade. You know, was that person really confident in their brand?
Confident with a little C.
Okay.
You know, I'll say that I was like, yeah, I was confident. Yeah, sure.
And yeah.
But now it's like, bam.
I know. And so talk to me about that. Go a little deeper with that, because I want to emphasize this point that branding identity will certainly elevate the perception of your audience and how they perceive you. Are you credible? Are you truly a subject matter expert?
Yeah, you know, here's an example, and this just goes to show, you know, number one, always be aware of opportunity. So let's think about this. About 3 or 4 months ago, we were getting ready to do some windows in our home. And you know, if you do all your windows, you're going to spend $1 gillion. So, you know, we do like 6, 7, 8 at a time. And so I had this window company come out, and I'd chosen this, the one company from before something just came up. And so I went and got a couple, you know, quotes online, and this one company just was really on it. They were really communicating well. And turns out they came out for the quote, and the owner and the sales manager was there, and we had a nice conversation. Well, can you imagine on a Friday mid-morning, you know, I'm like, shorts and a baseball cap kind of thing, right? So I'm chatting with him, and I'm like, "Hey, let me ask you a question. You do, you know, pay-per-click ads, and you do the responses, and you know, that was you at, you know, last Thursday at 7 p.m. responding, and that's awesome." And then we just got talking about marketing, and I said, "I've got a couple ideas that I think would really help you out a whole lot." And I started mentioning some of these things, like what I do for my clients with authority positioning. Grabbed my book off the shelf, and I said, "Hey, read through this and let's follow up and go from there." Because what I said to them was, people don't know you from Adam when you're doing pay-per-click and responding to those. You're just an email. And in fact, your emails were like really plain, like really, you know, you need to spruce that up anyway. But I said, what if in your initial email, it was, "Hey, thanks so much for requesting a quote. I'm going to work it up and get it to you within 24 hours. Hey, by the way, in between now and when we speak, either on the phone or in person, take a look at a couple of these items." And I said, what if you had this authority positioning portfolio where you were interviewed on or featured in just a couple little simple things? You don't need to go write a book. You know, You're a window guy. Mm-hmm. But I'll bet you that if we had a couple interviews that covered some really hot topics that people typically have objections on, like what's the biggest objection that people tell you about, you know, getting windows? What if we can interview on that and just educate them on why you're the obvious choice? And we get that media, you know, coverage out there. You put that in that email follow-up. Well, anyway, being able to have this so dialed in gave me just really, you know, not that I wouldn't have anyway, but I was just matter of fact. I was like, "Hey, here's the book. Let me send you my authority position portfolio. Check those things out." We follow up on the phone, and then about 3 weeks later, boom, package.
Nice.
Major package. So in other words, the cost, the package that he paid for covered half of the cost of my windows for that order. And I was like, that's nice. And not that I would not have done that before, but I think maybe he would have gone, "Oh man, baseball cap guy can do marketing." But then when he starts looking at what I have done and what I said I can do, I think that took his own perception to that next level and go, "Oh yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense."
And this guy knows what he's doing. Look at him. Yeah. Look at what he's doing, right? It's funny. It's like, you got to drink your own Kool-Aid. Yeah. You have to drink your own Kool-Aid if you want to be perceived as that expert. And that's fantastic. So that's awesome. And, you know, and that's sort of what I want people to sort of see in this video is I want them to understand that when you have the confidence in yourself, when you feel good about your business, it raises the standard and it raises the just everything, the state, everything. Tony Robbins talks about state, but like that's the first thing that came to my mind. And when you work from a position of confidence, like you feel unstoppable, you feel unstoppable. And that's what great branding does. It's that feeling. It's that gut feeling that your audience gets. Listen, it's the gut feeling that you get. And you just did a recent testimonial for me. I appreciate it so much. And you talked about that in that little clip where how you really, you said had the confidence with a little c. And then once we sort of to take everything and we flipped it on its head, you were like, whoa, now we're talking, buddy. And so I want people to see that branding does affect your bottom line. It is directly connected to your bottom line.
Well, and here's something else to think about. If you're listening to this and you sell pencils, do you need to spend mega on some big rebrand? Maybe if you're selling, hundreds of millions a day, but you need to think about what you're selling. And most people that need a branding agency or an authority positioning agency, you're selling a little bit more than just a pencil at, for 12 cents. You're selling, high ticket items. So think about the people that are making a decision to invest in your product or services. They need to feel that you are worthy of investing with.
Right.
And I think that's a big piece. And if they come to a Craigslist style website that it's like just plain Jane, they're not going to give you dime one.
No. And that's something that, and people judge books by their covers all the time. And it's just the way we're wired. We're just wired that way. So you gotta put your best foot forward. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it. You could try to do it the cheap way, but I can tell you right now, I've seen dozens of entrepreneurs try to go the cheap route, and they're calling me within 3-4 months going, should have hired you in the first place. Now I got to redo it.
Well, here's something else too. People are really busy, right? I mean, people that need something or are looking for something, or maybe you're educating them on what you do and they didn't really know that you could help them out, but now they're intrigued. So they're going to check it out a little bit. They don't have a week and a half to invest their time into reading every single thing and talking to you. They're going to look like pretty briefly. And so they're going to narrow their choices to those that are on top and that look like they're on top. So yeah, you might have a competitor and they might go look for, at your competition. But if you look sparkling good and you have that authority positioning and your brand is top notch and top shelf, and you've got those testimonials out there, you've earned at least a shot at bat. Now, you could strike out and, not treat them well or not respect them on that call or that visit, but you've got to get more at bats. And that's what this branding and that image, really leveling that up is really going to do that for you, because people are busy. They don't have time to go, well, their personality, I'm sure, is fine. No.
Exactly.
I'm sure they're a nice guy.
Again, it's that 3 second. It's the 3 second rule, man.
Yeah.
If you're not able to capture them in 3 seconds, they're on to the next one. I mean, think about how I got to be conscious of time here, but think about how you buy things and what makes you pull the trigger, right?
Yeah.
Do you pull the trigger on half-assed brands? No, you run for the hills, right? Yeah. Because you don't even know if they're spam. You don't even know, you're not putting that credit card near that, website or near that person, right? And I always raise that eyebrow because there's so many marketers out there that are slapping these ClickFunnels pages up and, thinking that they're going to get this, they may be getting great opt-in or whatnot, but what's the quality of that lead? What's the quality of that person?
If you Google that person, whoever, that example you're thinking of.
I talked about that.
What do you see? That person might have been a plumber 2 months ago, and now they just got some ClickFunnels thing selling you whatever that it is. So that goes into, in reality, that goes into your brand imaging, your authority, in the sense that do you say what you say you're doing something you've been doing for more than a minute and a half?
Are you really an expert?
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Mike, but I hire experts. I don't hire generalists. I don't hire fly-by-night people. And there's too many of that out there. There's too many generalists out there. There's too many folks out there that are just trying to make a quick buck. And, you know, I always say, like, find a trade, man. Like, find something that you're passionate about and go real deep. It was funny. I was reading this book by Blair Enns. It's called the Win Without Pitching Manifesto. And he talks about how there's two businesses, right? There's a business that learns the broad concepts, and there's a business that understands and learns one concept. And who do you think is going to learn faster? The one that needs to learn all of the concepts, or the one that just learns the one?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to show people on my social media channels and my audience, is that be known as the guy of, or the gal of X. Like, when people think branding, they think me. And I won't stop until they start calling me the LeBron of branding, right? Because that's how you get known and become an expert in your niche. And everyone's afraid of missing out. I get it. The fear of missing out is huge. Well, if I just focus on this, I'll be missing out on that. So what?
The other thing that goes along with FOMO, fear of missing out, is shiny object syndrome. And the problem is people are like, Brandon, okay, yeah, good. And do that for 2 seconds. And it's like, well, that didn't work. Well, you didn't give it enough time to work, because just redoing, like what you've done with me, that's great, but you got to keep it up. You got to keep that plate spinning. And the problem is with the shiny objects you see in your Facebook feeds, your whatever, advertising, inbox, email, there's a lot of things you could be doing out there that, this guy made $1 trillion doing this. Well, it might not work for you, and you need to stick with something long enough to make it. And you know what else? Branding and authority positioning, those are things that are just long term. That's not something that you just check a box and say, did it. Remember back in the day, content marketing? Well, content marketing these days is not even a thing, because it's like, you better darn well be doing good content in your marketing. It's just good marketing. So branding, content marketing, positioning your authority, things like that, messaging, copywriting, those are things you don't just check off and go, got it. Those are things that you constantly do and study on and polish up on and have people helping you with. Now, some of the things that you can check off and go, do you have a website? Yes, no. Well, guess what? Even having a website, you better keep up with that as well. So there's so many things that go along with branding and authority positioning that you have to just keep on keeping on and keep that faith, knowing that that next person that comes along is like, you know what? And I've had people since the rebrand say to me, your website is just spectacular. And I love what you stand for. And I love how clear, I mean, they not a lot, and I'll be honest with you, it's happened like twice, but I love when it does. But how many times do you feel like, yeah, you know what, I could give that guy a compliment, but you don't. So if you've heard it a couple, 3 times, it probably is happening 10 and 20 times in someone's mind. They just don't think to say anything to you,
Right. And that, and negative energy flows faster than positive energy. And it's just the way that is. And you know what, I wish it was the other way around, but let's do everything we have control over to change that and to really level up our look, our feel. I say, stop worrying about what everybody else is doing and start worrying about what you're doing. Become the best fill in the blank you could possibly be.
Yeah.
And show and document that, and you will attract a certain individual. And that, my friends, is a wrap. So, Mike,
drop the mic.
Yeah. If there's anything you want to leave the audience with before we settle up here.
Yeah, I would just say this. Go back and watch this again, because there's some bombs of knowledge and wisdom that we both just touched on. Didn't even plan it. I mean, I could tell you something that proved why we didn't plan it, but the point is we didn't plan on saying half of what we did. We were just like, let's just do this, overview. And there's some things that you brought up that we brought up together. I would just say, watch this thing again, take some notes, and think about what you can implement in your own brand, your own authority positioning, because you got to keep on moving along. And in fact, check this out. As I was going through the Brand Accelerator and some of our talks, my tagline just came to life of building your authority is your number one priority. And being able to take that message and clarify it down to, a small chunk and then a tagline, it just is so huge. So definitely thank you for all you have done for me. And I would encourage your audience just, listen to your podcast episodes, listen to your Facebook Lives and all of these, because, I would venture to say that you study 20 times more than what you put out there. So the knowledge coming into Henry's brain, and he's able to assimilate it and get it back out into a nice cohesive message for people, we can learn from that. And that's worth volumes.
Oh, that's awesome, Mike. I appreciate you, man. And I appreciate you taking the time today to come out and do this showcase with me and be part of the case study of my brand. And I support you 1,000%, man. So keep rocking, man. Keep doing what you're doing. And, let's get out there and help these folks.
Cool, man. Thanks, Henry.
You got it, bro. So there you have it, guys. Hope you got some value out of this. Like Mike said, we sort of just did this off the cuff. I was looking to, I'll be very honest with you, I was looking to build up some case study, and Mike has been one of a great client for years now. And I said, Mike, we never really documented this. We never really showed people the behind the scenes. We never really took them through the process that I took you. Would you mind doing that? And he said, sure. And so here we are. So hope you got some value out of it again. And just good luck with everything. And I'll catch you on another video. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.